Alan Moore is a writer and magician from Northampton. He's a stranger to hairdressers and worships his very own god in his very own way, blurring the lines between religious belief, magic, and the power of the creative imagination. If you film him from strange angles, you can make him look very sinister. But he isn't really.
Hello, mate. Could I have a cup of tea, please? Black tea.
Alan's familiar on his journey of faith and worship is an ancient Roman glove puppet snake called Glykon.
Well, actually, I just thought he looked gorgeous. He looked so smug. And he'd got this these lidded eyes and this superior expression, which I identified with in a certain way.
Yeah.
And also, like I say, it's just the absurdity of this limbless serpentine body and this Paris Hilton head on top of it. It's irresistible. He's certainly the coolest, most rock and roll looking god that I have ever seen. I just fell in love at first sight.
You've not chosen to worship Paris Hilton, though, by extension?
No, I've certainly not.
No.
It's sort of, I mean, there are limits, you know, even to somebody who's worshipping a hairy snake, you know. I mean, I'm not going to go mad here.
What's in it for you, though, following Glykon?
I believe that every single individual human being should probably make their own peace with the universe. I mean, we're all of us different emotionally, we're all different physically, intellectually. It would be really odd if we were all the same spiritually. So, I mean, that's why I have a problem with religion, per se, because religion, the very word, it comes from the same root word as ligature and ligament, and it means to be bound together in one belief, which I find a bit creepy and a bit unnatural.
How did you first go about worshipping Glykon, and what form does the worship take?
Well, when I started to become interested in magic, I understood that everything that people talk about with regard to magic is all absolutely true, as long as you understand that it is happening inside people's minds. And it struck me that that must be what magic is. It must be like treating the space that we perceive inside our minds as a kind of territory. And I thought that working on that hypothesis, you could explore that problem creeping in here. Might you say that you had just the slightest touch of a messiah complex?
Well, would I have a haircut like this if I didn't? I think we're all entitled to a little messiah complex of our own, as long as it doesn't involve taking up arms or sort of going around and crucifying anybody else. So, who in this vast world of ours is this doing the slightest bit of good for? Could it be you, perhaps? It's good for me, obviously, and hopefully it's maybe good for the people who read it. Yeah, we get letters from sort of kids. These are not sort of wild-eyed Manson converts, but they're kids who may have read something that I've written and decide that, yeah, perhaps they have changed their mind about this facet or that facet. We get a lot of kids writing in to disagree, and that's healthy as well, as long as they're thinking. I don't want everybody to agree with me, I just want people to think.
What I'm trying to do is to take some possibly unpopular political beliefs and to make them accessible, to give ideas that are quite large and complex to children in a form that they can understand. I would much rather put out my stories to children, to people who do not share my political beliefs at all, because in that instance I am not preaching to the converted. Given that I've got, say, 500,000 readers a month, if only 10% of those, or 1% of those, take notice of what I'm saying, that is still a very large number of people.
The thing about fame is that fame in its current sense had not really existed before the 20th century. Back in previous eras, even if you were very, very well known, that would perhaps be amongst 1,000 people at most, if you were Pope or somebody. In the 20th century, however, with these massive surges in communication, suddenly a different sort of fame was possible. And I tend to think that what fame has done, it has replaced the sea as the element of choice of adventure for young people. If you were a dashing young man in the 19th century, you would probably want to run away to sea. Just as in the 20th century, you might decide that you want to run away and form a pop band. The difference is that in the 19th century, before running away to sea, you would have had at least some understanding of what the element was that you were dealing with, and you would have perhaps, say, learned to swim. The thing is that there is no manual for how to cope with fame. So you'll get some otherwise likeable young person who has done one good comic book, one good film, one good record, who is suddenly told that they are a genius, and who believes it, and who runs out sort of laughing and splashing into the billows of celebrity, and whose heroin-sodden corpse is washed up a few weeks later in the shallows of the tabloids. I'd never signed up to be a celebrity, and I came to the realisation that it was nothing that I was very comfortable with. I realised that celebrities are a kind of an industry, they're a kind of a crop. Media moguls like Rupert Murdoch or people who run the big networks, they need a constant stream of celebrities to fill column space in their magazines, to fill time upon their TV shows. And because celebrities tend to burn out quickly, you have to constantly create new ones. And I really didn't feel that I wanted to be part of that process, and so withdrew to the relative obscurity of Northampton.
It's pretty funny, never mind, it's whack. We gotta vote for him. Guys, he's black, he'll legalize weed. But what about the crack, turning niggas into zombies in a trap? The proof is in the pudding, why you think it's called the trap? That's why I left it early and don't plan on going back. Cause I would rather be a broke nigga living tacky than make a living killing niggas just to get a stack. But some people lack the kind of sympathy that will help them understand the damage being done with this rap shit.